Hey, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist John Hominuk with New York Metro Weather, checking in with your latest update on Tropical Storm Isaias. We have a lot to talk about this afternoon and evening, and wanted to run you through the latest information that we have and what to expect from Monday into Tuesday as this tropical storm moves up the East Coast and towards our area. So here's the latest advisory from the National Hurricane Center as of 5 o'clock p.m., and you can see Tropical Storm Isaias is off the east coast of Florida, but is staying offshore. And that is a very important distinction for us, because forecast models had for a while suggested the possibility that the storm would move inland over Florida and really weaken and dissipate before moving up the coast. But that is not the case. What we will see instead is the storm will remain offshore and then move northward, making landfall somewhere near the North Carolina and South Carolina border on Tuesday morning. The system is then forecast to move northward up the eastern seaboard and near, perhaps over New York City from later Tuesday, and then through Wednesday morning expected to move over New England. Accordingly, tropical storm watches have been issued for the coastlines of New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut. They also extend further southward into Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. And it's tropical storm warnings across the Carolina coast, with a hurricane watch for the North Carolina and South Carolina coast in particular as well. But the impacts from Isaias will begin much earlier, before the system gets up here. And so we'll discuss exactly what we're expecting from Monday afternoon into evening and beyond. Here's the system, and it is looking better than it did yesterday. If you go back and listen to our video from yesterday, the storm was really struggling. It is not struggling today. A much better looking storm in general. More convection here, and better looking overall. But as you'll see, the western side of the storm remains relatively sheared, and the storm is kind of limited in terms of the dry air and wind shear, how much it will organize and how much it really will strengthen over the next 24 hours or so. Here's the mid-level water vapor imagery, all courtesy of a COD meteorology website. But notice too, a lot of the convection is east of the center of the storm, off to the east of Florida coastline. So again, better looking storm today, but not undergoing any rapid strengthening by any stretch of the imagination. And again, from the latest advisory, forecast to move northward and then begin to, or northwestward, and then begin its turn to the north and east, impacting the east coast. So here are the new developments. We do see, I mentioned, the storm has displayed increased convection today. That is further off to the east of the center of the storm, generally biased to the east side. So the system is maintaining its strength and maybe strengthening a tiny bit over the next 12 hours or so. Also, new development today, agreement on the storm's track. So forecast models now are in much better agreement as to where the system will track over the next 24 hours. And part of that, a subsequent result of the agreement, is the confidence is now high that our area will be impacted by heavy rainfall. So we mentioned the increased confidence in the track, and you can see forecast models take the storm system to the north, track it into the North Carolina, South Carolina region, where we're expecting a landfall there, and then the system moves up along the east coast and towards the New York City region, with some agreement there that the storm will track really over New Jersey and perhaps New York City on Tuesday. That creates some complications for us, and the weather will become hazardous in the New York City area during this time. And so we're going to break it down. Here's the high-resolution modeling showing the system making landfall somewhere in South Carolina. And then you can see the storm pressure dropping a little bit of strengthening maybe. And the storm is expected then to lift northward. But even when the storm is here in the South Carolina region, as we mentioned in our video yesterday, we are expecting that jet dynamics will support showers and thunderstorms with tropical rainfall possibilities as early as Monday afternoon and evening. But when the system gets up closer to the area, and here's a simulated radar for Tuesday morning, the situation will become even more exacerbated as the tropical moisture really starts to get tapped into, and you can expect the potential for very heavy rainfall and strong winds along the area coast as Isaias moves northward into the region. And while strong winds were not looking like much of a concern yesterday, as the system has trended westward and is now expected to track further west, just inland of the coast, that allows the system to pull southeast winds towards the New Jersey coastline and the Long Island coastline. And so the potential exists for wind gusts over 40 miles an hour possibly 50 miles an hour along the coast of New Jersey and eventually the coast of Long Island as this system moves northward into New Jersey and close to New York City. So in addition to the potential for very heavy rainfall, we do now have the potential for strong wind gusts as well on Tuesday. Heavy rainfall is, as we mentioned, going to be the main concern. Tropical moisture, plenty of lift, and a tropical system coming up into the area sets the stage for an axis of very, very heavy rain. This is the European ensemble, suggesting over 3 inches of rain in parts of New Jersey, over 2 inches of rain in parts of New York. And this is an ensemble mean, so the actual result could be much, much higher than that, and that's why we are concerned for the potential for flooding as this system moves northward through New York and New Jersey from Monday afternoon throughout Tuesday. And one last thing, in addition to the threat for heavy rain, as the storm tracks northward through New Jersey, forecast models are suggesting the potential for some instability to develop. And what we're looking at here is a forecast for some instability even at the surface. And when you have this degree of wind shear with a tropical storm and this kind of instability in place, the potential does exist for some water spouts and brief tornadoes. And so that is a potential threat as well across parts of New Jersey, New York, Long Island, and Connecticut on Tuesday. So what is in place right now? The current watches and alerts for New York City and surrounding areas. We have a flash flood watch in effect for the entire area, and that is for the potential for flash flooding from Monday into Tuesday. And we have a tropical storm watch along the area coast for potential tropical storm conditions from Monday evening through Tuesday, with potential for wind gusts over 40 miles an hour and tropical storm conditions on the shoreline. So what does this mean for you? Really not much. The best thing to do right now is to have a plan. So you want to know what to do with you and what your family's going to do, what your loved ones are going to do, in case that you do need to move around, in case that something does occur during the tropical storm, like a power outage or flooding. Just have a plan, discuss a plan, know what to do in case. Have a way to get warning. So if you have a flash flood warning or a tornado warning, you need to have multiple ways to get that in case the power or the television goes out. Make sure you have a way to get that on your cell phone or internet or radio, whatever suits you best. But we always recommend having multiple ways to get those warnings. And finally, have supplies. Make sure you have supplies just in case the power goes out or streets get blocked, or especially if you live along the coast, you never know what might occur, and you want to be sure that you have those supplies handy. And finally, one last review of the actual hazards with Tropical Storm Isaias. And we want to go over exactly what we are expecting from the storm itself and what hazards we're looking at. I'm trying to get this to center here. Here we go. So again, the main hazard with this storm is going to be heavy rainfall and flooding. This storm could produce several inches of rain and could cause widespread flooding problems throughout the area. So if you live in a flood-prone zone, now's the time to have a plan in place. Now's the time to know where to go in case the flooding does occur. We know it's a heightened chance of flooding with this storm, and it could be a widespread problem. Strong winds, a secondary concern, but near the coast, look for wind gusts over 40 miles an hour, possibly over 50 miles an hour as this storm moves up near the area. And again, especially near the area beaches, have a plan in place for strong winds. Most of you there know exactly what to do when strong winds come in, but know what to do this time as well, and know that this is a tropical system that can produce very strong winds near the area coast. Rough seas as well, in addition to those strong winds there. And then a tertiary concern is severe weather and the potential for tornadoes and water spouts, as we mentioned, from Monday night into Tuesday, with that wind shear in place throughout the area. So that's your highlight with Tropical Storm Isaias. Again, Monday afternoon into evening and continuing all through Tuesday, we're looking at multiple threats for heavy rain and flooding, strong winds, and severe weather. If you have the opportunity to, just hunker down during this time. There's no need to wander around and be out. Just make sure that you stay safe during the storm, and we'll have plenty of updates over the next 24 hours as the storm draws closer. Take care, guys, and have a great Sunday evening.